with you and joined by an all-star team of Mr. Samuj,
Evening.
Jez,
Evening.
and Double S,
Greetings.
all reporting for duty on a marvelous day, a super Sunday, one might say, of Premier League football. I am super duper happy, guys, because Liverpool have won the first ever Merseyside derby at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. They've come out on top. It was Everton 1, it was Liverpool 2, it was Salah, it was Van Dijk. It was fantastic, was it not, Jez?
You know what? We needed that, didn't we? We just needed that. Just whatever. Just to say, we went into your backyard, that first Merseyside derby, and come out victorious. Yeah, people are dancing in the streets wherever they are in the country, in the world. That was bragging rights. We've got the bragging rights.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Sandwich, let's not piss about. Let's get into Salah chat because the record books will say in the first ever Merseyside derby at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Mohamed Salah, in his final appearance for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, went there and bossed it and got that first ever goal. How pleased were you with his performance and the performance of the team overall? Two simple questions for you.
I was very happy for Salah. I think that he deserves all the records. He deserves everything that's we know that he's on his swan song. We know he's leaving. So might as well just stack up. Most goals at Anfield in April. Sure, get that as well. Just do everything you can. But I think a very special touch to get that first Merseyside derby goal at the new stadium. Just to remind them, I know they had their little TIFO display of the originals and all that, but to remind them, Liverpool are Liverpool. Everton are just, they're there. They're the little brother. They're never going to catch up. But I was really happy for him. So yeah, really happy with that.
What's this about a TIFO? I missed that.
Yeah, they had one right at the start of the game. And it had like the originals and this is our city, all this stuff.
We built this city.
Yeah, we built this city.
Chop.
Yeah.
We built this city, yeah. They had the cheek to have the Beatles in a blue and white scarf when the original photo is actually the Beatles in a red and white scarf. So they tried to get there. It was their cup final. Fair enough to them. And they really tried to get on top of it, but no, not today.
Not today. And what did you make of the performance overall? We'll get into the detail, but how did you feel Liverpool performed overall, given that they had the floor wiped of them in midweek and they were recovering from a big disappointment in the Champions League?
How long have we got? I think
leave it there. Your face says it all.
Yeah, look, I'm happy with the result, and I'm happy that we made a go of it. But a lot of the same alarm bells have been there. But I've long accepted them, as I've said. I've long accepted this is how the season's going to go out. So let's just get some entertainment, get the wins on the table, and just look forward to next season.
Yeah, great. And Jay, the mission was, I would say, to qualify for the Champions League. We get that top 5. We're pretty much there. I don't think there's anyone sitting around this table who's panicking about us achieving that in the circumstances and given the teams we're up against. But what do you think that this win might do for the team and possibly the manager long term?
Nothing changes. If we're to believe Everton at their word, they have full faith in Arne Slot. This is a long-term project. We go again next season if we take them on their word. And haven't had any whispers to the contrary, really. Most of the stuff has just been from frustrated fans like ourselves. With respect to the players, I don't know what to make of these players. I don't recognise these players. I don't know what to. I mean, I'm happy with the result. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be a downer, but if you ask me a question, what does it mean? It's too early to say.
You don't know these players.
I don't recognise them.
What do you mean by that? You don't recognise?
You know that Kiki Palmer meme? I don't know this man.
I feel perfect.
There you go. That's exactly it.
Well, look, I'm super happy today for 3 reasons. Number one, we essentially have sealed our route to next season's Champions League final, right? Number 2, we have a title race. We definitively have a title race. That was a fantastic game.
And we're not in it.
More detail. Yeah. and number 3, this Spurs relegation story it's creasing me up. I think I might miss them. I think I might miss them long so they do actually go. But it's like every week the life is dripping out of their Premier League survival campaign. But let's stick with Liverpool for now because there's plenty of time to.
And just to say, with Spurs, I just say I would miss because they're good for about between 4 to 6 points a season for us, so they're good. So we are going to miss them too.
Absolutely. Good luck to them filling that stadium in the Championship. But anyway, Jez, let's come back to you.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into the goals, or the first one anyway. So 29 minutes. Your favourite attacking player telegraphs a ball into the path of Mohamed Salah. It was probably the assist of the season. How much do you love Gakpo after what you've seen today? And you can also touch upon the Mohamed Salah finish if you wish.
I've not got much to say about that. Yeah.
What's that? You adore Gakpo to the moon and back.
Do you know what? I can't. Yeah. I give Potts where it's due, but there is still a lot of frustration. It's going to take a lot more than one pass and one goal for me to like turn that around. Although having said that, and I know Mr. Summers was talking about Salah giving him his props, he was frustrating me. The team basically they took a long time to get into the game and to get warmed up. There was a lot of noise with the fans. I kind of just like, have Sky turned up the volume on that, or are the Everton fans actually that loud? You know, you kind of couldn't quite tell if they're just trying to make a bit of theatre about it. But they were clearly up for it. They were playing for the occasion. I think Liverpool plays because they wanted to win a game, as they do, and it's a bit okay. It's going to take a while. I actually was frustrated with Salah, actually in the build-up to their disallowed goal, which was a couple of minutes before ours, because I was like that attempted clearance. I was like, dude, you know, you're not offering much. But then it got disallowed. We reset. And I give props. It was a good ball, and it's one of those where you just kind of like, that's what's been missing from a lot of our play, a lot of this season. Just somebody forward thinking, and to play a quick ball into space for somebody to run on. So it was a beautiful ball and a well taken goal as well. And yeah, I was pleased. I think that clearly had knocked some of the wind out of Everton's sails. So there's not enough wind for them to fly those plastic flags and everything else that they had for everyone in the stadium. But and then because even at that point I was thinking, you know what, if their goal had stood, I wasn't sure if Liverpool would get back in the game. So I kind of felt like this was a game where we needed to score the first goal to stand a chance of getting anything. So yeah. So I got
ahead of myself, Jez. I got ahead of myself. I'm glad you mentioned 2 minutes before the goal. There was that very close shave when we thought they'd taken the lead. Do you think defensively Liverpool struggled a bit today?
No, and I say that because I think there was a lot of intensity kind of first half from Everton. Like I said, I think that us going 1-up knocked it out of them, but they didn't offer that much for the rest of the game. And I know we'll get into the issues with injuries or whatever, but also given the nature of how it unfolded for us with changes, but injuries, we had a third choice keeper came on. I don't think he had a shot to save. So I wasn't worried because they didn't offer anything to be worried about.
Mr. Sandwich, from your point of view, talk to me about that first half, because I thought Liverpool it was pretty much as I expected. Everton, they're that kind of team into a bit of rough and tumble. They're going to try and shake you up and draw you into drama, right, to compensate for the talent deficit. And I don't mean that in a patronising way, or maybe I do. But the point is, I thought they actually achieved their aim to a degree. But talk to me about, first of all, that Beto miss. That was the funniest shit I've seen in a long time.
Which one?
Yeah.
When they went up for the throw near the corner of the throw,
the one all the way across.
Halfway line,
Choose one. The one that just had me rolling over was when he's on the left-hand side of goal, he's through. Yeah. And he almost just like side foots in slow motion.
Just side foots it, yeah.
It's easier to get it on target.
Yeah. And what I would say, though, to be fair, I think it was Beto's header that forced Mamadashvili saved quite early on, to be fair. So they did start. It was their cup final. They had the plastic flags. I think the crowd, to be fair to them, they were extra loud. It's the first time. This was a history-making game. So that first 20, 25 minutes, the crowd was doing their bit, and you could see the players were playing off that. apart from, I'm pretty sure it was a better header and the Mamardashvili save. Apart from that, there wasn't too much where they really tested us. They had a lot of half pot shots, like you said, the shots are going wide, and a bit of that talent deficit kind of showed through. Whereas in a good way, actually, they didn't bring in Dye into the game that much too early. Once he's their quality player, and I think we saw that with their goal. And actually, he didn't have too many chances, but if there was going to be a bit of quality, it was going to come from him. So that kind of spoke to their shortcomings because they didn't really bring him into the game that much. And we know that on our right hand side, that's where we struggle. So actually, they really should have probably. But yeah, I think Everton were playing the occasion. Fair enough. The ref was quite lenient as well. So Gavin Birch actually kind of did his job today, spoiling up the play, especially in that first half. I was surprised he didn't get a yellow card. I think he had about 3 or 4 fouls. But yeah, Everton were playing the occasion and we were trying to get into the game. We took a bit of time to get into the game, but I think once that Njai goal was ruled out, I think that was the shot in the arm that we kind of needed, which is frustrating that we need the ball going the net to get a shot in the arm. But yeah, we were better from then on, I'd say. And yeah, we scored 2 minutes later, which I think was definitely a bit of a gut punch to them.
Absolutely. Now, up until that goal went in, Jay, Liverpool had failed to have a single shot. Basically in the first 20 minutes of the match, I think. But it was Jez's fave, Gakpo, who did have the effort on goal, easily blocked by a defender. Did you think to yourself that at that point they had a game plan that you can kind of cling to when you think of, if Slot is going to be here for long-term future? Did you see any signs in terms of what we can expect?
No, I think the way I viewed the game is coloured by my experience watching this season. And so I know that we cannot have a sustained period of pressure or domination in any game. So we've just got to kind of like bang, like a counter puncher, if you know what I mean. So we just kind of go with the moment. So I wasn't worried about that. But I knew we had enough quality up front. I say quality in theory to make it count when we do. I was a bit worried about Isak was a passenger. Now, of course, he's got mitigating circumstances. I can't really say too much about it, but it did affect the game in any way, shape, or form. And Wirtz, he was beginning to progress, but he seemed to have regressed recently, and like he's being pushed around and stuff like that. He must have known, like, it's a Merseyside derby. He must have known, because one of the things one positive I'll say is from all the other players, they seem to get stuck in a bit. They showed a bit more heart, but Wirtz didn't show. Yeah, Wirtz didn't show. So for me, it's pretty much, it was just more the same, really, more the same. I was just happy that we went in half time with a clean sheet. I thought, okay, now we can build. Because I think, as Jez said, if we had conceded the first goal, I do think we would have struggled. And I think the beauty of our goals are the timings. Firstly, obviously, we'll talk about Virgil later, but Sullivan, just after they'll be celebrating after 5 minutes, it's taking his shirt off, blah 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 blah, and then we go and score. That must be that gut punch. I thought, thank God for that. And I think it took them a while to recover, for that one. So yeah, it was all good. Well, I don't know if I answered your question. Sorry, maybe I just rambled. Sorry.
No, absolutely makes sense to me. I think I've seen what I've seen of Liverpool this season. I always have very low expectations, but medium to high hopes of the outcome. And then with the performances, I generally have low expectations.
Yeah.
And I thought coming into this game, there'd probably be a lot more relaxed, if that makes sense, because the stakes are a bit lower. They're not really under pressure. Even before this game kicked off, Chelsea had lost the day before. So it's not like heightened tension coming into a Merseyside derby that they need to get a result. But I think more than anything, I was pleased with the amount of pride that they showed throughout the team, if not lots of quality. So lots of things to be happy about. But you did mention Isak there, Joe. I'm going to come to you, Jez. We can talk about mitigating circumstances. We can talk about, recovery from injury, adaptation to the team, chopping and changing up front, blah, 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 blah. I am super disappointed with this signing. Like, even if you put aside the fact that for months you haven't seen him because he had that horrible injury against Spurs, you should, when you spend big money, it doesn't matter about the fee, but big money, this is your record signing, on a forward player, have a fair few moments to look back on and say, oh yeah, I can see why this guy walks straight into our team. I can see why going forward there's plenty of reason for optimism. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm just saying I haven't seen enough to really get me excited about what could be around the corner. Have you? Am I missing something? Am I not being patient enough, Jez?
No, I think I'm with you. And I think even when the transfer window was open in the summer and this whole thing we're pursuing Isak, I was saying, I don't understand why. I was like, we need a centre back.
You were consistent.
I was like, we need a centre back. Like, we've got enough firepower. We don't necessarily need him on top. And it's kind of ironic that Ekitike was kind of, I think initially was a bit of a backup and actually has been a lot better in terms of what his return has been this season. I mean, when the graphic came at the start of the game with the lineup, I kind of was like, okay, I can see the spine. You had the keeper. I know Mamardashvili probably eventually will be the number one because Alisson's only got like the year left. Konate, Van Dijk probably there another season. Your midfield, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and then Isak. And I was kind of like, okay, it's the wings from defence, or the defence, right backs, left back, and the wings that where we need to probably focus on. I was like, okay, fair enough. But it was just a point, and I think it's about the 38th minute where they showed this graphic that said that least number of touches, and he's had 2. But then actually, when you think about the way that the team were playing and how they were set up, I don't necessarily think the team and that setup is suited to him in terms of bringing him in, because if he's supposed to be that target, and I kind of made the assumption that he only had 2 touches because he's in the box waiting for the balls. We don't play that way. We have a lot of possession in the opposition half up until the box, and then it just goes sideways, across, sideways, fling it around, and then you might lose it, turn around and maybe get it back. So there's not that direct forward passes that we make a lot for, I guess, somebody of Isak's kind of quality and what he can bring to the team to take advantage of that. So actually, the way that the team's set up and how they play isn't necessarily to his advantage. So I want to give him a bit of slack in that sense, but then I sit there and I question, well, why did the club pursue him to the level that they did if they're going to set the team to play in a way that's not going to do that? And there's been times, when Ekitike's been up front and then you kind of think, oh, why is he dropping back? He should have to drop back to get the ball because he should be making those runs. So you kind of think that's the way that they should be playing, but they don't play that way. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. I don't know if it's tactics, but they've spent all this money on a guy that they're not going to play to his advantage. So I sit there and question more the wider recruitment than the actual individual himself and how he showed up in this game.
This partly comes down to, doesn't it, Sam, whether you believe that the hierarchy pushed for him or the manager pushed for him. Because maybe you might say, to Jez's point, are we playing him in the right way? Another manager may look at the setup of that forward line and deploy him differently. What are your optimism levels for him at this moment in time, and how much concern potentially do you have? I know I ask this question regularly, but every time I see him, I'm really impressed.
It's getting dire. It's almost, my concern levels are really high. The only thing I'm caught between rock and a hard place. I'm caught in that we know his Premier League quality, because sometimes you sign, especially strikers from other leagues, they've torn up in the Champions League, they've got golden boots here, and you're like, they're just never going to adapt to the Premier League. Whereas Isak, we know that he can play in the Premier League, so there's that one bit, and then I'm giving a bit of leeway that injuries, disruptions, lack of preseason. So I'm almost like, right, I'm writing off this season anyway. So I'm not here disappointed that Isak hasn't scored 2 in his last 2 and he didn't bring us back in the PSG game. I'm disappointed that he looks lost. He looks lethargic. It's just, that's the bit where I'm like,
right?
These are not good. Yeah, they're not good. Someone said it to me in one of my other group chats. We might have been Torres. Remember when Torres went to Chelsea and you're like, yeah, that's a lethal striker.
Premier League experience aplenty, and
plenty.
Yeah, he was one of the killers in that league. I know, Jez,
One
you
of the
particularly
killers. Remember before
Yeah.
he just started to start getting a couple niggling injuries for us, and we're like, do you know what? This is great money. And Chelsea, you buy the player because you're like, they've got the quality. Let's get them through their injuries, and then they're gonna just resume. I'm really worried that we've been Torres, where it's like we knew what we were signing, and then the injuries had dissipated that. Your second point is also now the catch-22, which I think FSG, not necessarily that they're weighing up, because I think they've long made their mind up. And actually, Tom Werner's quotes earlier in the season of like, and before we went really tragic, it was in early October, he came out and said, "Oh no, we know this is going to take time," and that was after maybe I think we'd only lost 1 or 2 games at that point. And he's like, "No, we know it's going to take time. We signed a lot, made a lot of signings, etc." I think that's going to be a big part of Slot staying. I think they're going to say, "Hold on, we've signed all these players in your image," and like you said, that question of whether the club signed him or the manager, I think the club were, definitely forthright in the signing, but it would absolutely have been in consultation with the manager to make sure you're going to make these 200 million pound plus players work, right? We're not just signing them for nice shiny toys. And I think that's the situation we're going to find ourselves in the summer of, do you roll the dice and say someone else come in, get the most out of these players and hope that the manager you get in is happy with these players in its image? Or do you say, right, Arne Slot, you've gotten rid of your credit from winning the league, you've got these players, we know we're going to do a couple more signings, you have to make these work with these players? Because that's the £1 billion question, essentially. We dropped so much money on them, you essentially have to make sure you have to make sure it works. And I think that's the situation we're in, and that's a big part of why I think FSG are probably leaving that. Yeah, this guy's got to stay, because otherwise you're just restarting again. And I don't think we have the resources or the goodwill to be in that cycle. We're not a Chelsea or City where a manager can have a big summer, you can write it off, and then some of those players end up in reserves in 18 months or you sell them on. No, Florian Wirtz has to work for Liverpool for 4, 5 or 6 years. Alexander Isak has to work for the next 2 or 3 years. The next manager can't come in and sack them off. So, and a long way around of answering both your questions. Highly disappointed. I hope we've not been Torres, but I also think that the manager's going to have to show that he can make this work before they bring someone else in.
Double S. First of all, before you come to Double S, big up to the guys joining us on YouTube. We appreciate your time and company. Give us a subscribe and leave your comments in the chat. Double S. Mike, on the check-in, he's got a perfect solution. He says, tell FSG to beg Salah to stay for another season. That's not going to happen, Double S. Breaking news. But in the absence of that miracle not occurring, I'd love to get your take on this, because if we have been Torres, we've got a bit of an issue. We've got our backup dancer, £90 million backup dancer, who's now out for a long period of time. They're saying potentially up to 9 months. Is it with an Achilles?
Yeah.
And that is going to be one where you don't know what state he's going to come back in. You don't know when he's going to come back. And now that's going to have a profound impact on the strategy of the board when they go into a transfer market, because there are already gaps in that forward line. Is Isak going to be the guy that continues to guide us through our short to medium term future, at least, spearheading that front line? Have you got any concerns?
I have concern because he hasn't shown the consistency that we wanted. However, what I did before he got injury, he was showing signs, like against, I think it was away at West Ham.
Yeah, you and I did the West Ham, yeah.
And then against Spurs as well, when he scored a goal. Just him and they were linked up. So they were showing signs. So that was a bit disappointing. So I have that is the hope I'm clinging to. With respect to the Torres, I don't think we've been Torres. I think
I really hope not.
Yeah. That didn't even come into my mind. I don't think, because I think we got. I think his peak can still be at Liverpool. I still think that, right? And I think we have no choice. Basically, he's our main man until the end of the season. So he's going to have to play into form, really. And the good thing about it is that for him, at least, and I guess even for us, is that we have no real pressure games now between now and the end of the season. We just got these games. It's like it'll be if we don't get Champions League from here, I'll then of course sack the whole team and the manager. So that, I think
sack the people in this pod. I would say everyone has to go.
Exactly.
Beryl, the tea lady, everyone.
Exactly. So he's got next. How many games? He's got what? 5 more games.
About 5 more left.
Five. He's got 5 more games. And what I do not want to see, this Graham Potter needs to understand, he cannot go to the World Cup. No.
We're living in a fantasy world. We know he's going to go. Yeah,
he is going. Yeah,
we know he's going.
But we know what's going to happen when he goes there.
Yeah,
we know.
But you know he will be there.
We know he's going. Like we know he's going.
Just for him, he might only have to turn up in June. That's
it could be
off. Like
we are paying medical bills.
But it could work. That could end up being his pre-season and he comes in hot.
What do you think? Do you really what do you think more likely? Really? Exactly.
It could also be that Gyökeres, who's the national Swedish.
Let Gyökeres be the national. They're not going to win it anyway. I think if Ekitike's in that position, I'd understand because France, at least, fair enough. But they just make up numbers anyway. Let's be real. Sweden, God's sake, Jesus.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
This level of snobbery is unprecedented on this podcast. For our Swedish listeners, we do apologise.
Please.
For double comments there. He didn't really mean it. He just wound up.
I am.
Let's give Joe a rest for a little bit. Let's get back to the game, and Joe, she'll bring us back into line. So Salah puts us ahead on the 29th minute. We're going to halftime, fairly happy. Beto, who even during halftime, I was rolling around laughing at that miss. But then he made me eat my words because he equalised in the 54th minute. It was a double whammy, Jez, because not only did we lose a goal, but we lost our backup dancer's backup dancer.
I don't even. You just feel like, when is this going to end? Like, when is it going to end? I think we kind of didn't really clear our lines properly, kind of invited that, Andy Robertson maybe with a half a yard of pace might have got in before sitting on the keeper. But then the way he was rolling around his knee, and then the minute they bring the stretcher on, you're just like, that is not good. And even if it might not look as bad as it is, when you're holding your knee, like that, still there's gonna that minimum bruising and stuff. You're like, you're not in their next game, and it was just like, so who's coming on? Like, I didn't even really pay much attention to the bench, but I was just like, okay, let's see what you could do. And I really then worried for us because I kind of thought, you know what? If any team with any footballing sense, you're attacking the goal to see what this guy is doing. Yeah, you can take a shot from like miles out and see what he's like, but they didn't do it, Everton. But yeah, and you can kind of see that they didn't quite know how to play with him. Like we've been saying for a while, haven't we? That they still were adapting to Mamadashvili because they're like putting it on his right foot. No, you just put the ball on his left foot because they're still used to Alisson. It's like now you've got to get used to a guy. Like I don't know how much he's involved with all of that kind of training and stuff, for them to have a sense of how he was. So I really did feel like, okay, this is now the whole team having to literally defend from the front to the back to the point where he's not having many shots to have to deal with. But it didn't look good. It didn't look good, and yeah, I feel like I'm done with the season as it is. I'm done with the injuries.
Anyone got any news on that injury and what it looks like?
So the Athletics are reporting that he had a very deep wound and he was taken to hospital. So I think it must have been, and it's not clear whether it was Beto or Robertson, but you can see the angle, like the boots collide with his knee. And I'm sure it looked quite nasty and probably quite a deep cut and wound, which is not good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Woodman. I know. Often when players come into the team like this, it's almost like a default assumption that they're young or inexperienced. He's almost 30, I believe.
Really?
What I'd say, in the last couple of years, the big clubs, their third goalkeeper, they're going for slightly older because they actually know if this were to happen, you don't want a 17-year-old kid having to come in that. So he's quite well versed in Football League, got up to about League One. And I think the good thing, to answer Joe's question, broadly speaking, the third goalkeepers, they basically train as a three anyway, because the third goalkeeper, they just know what their role is, which is why more often than not they're getting in slightly older, Scott Carson, Willie Caballero, etc., because they know they're just not going to angle for playing time. They know what they're coming to do.
Adrian, yeah,
Adrian, exactly. Yeah, that's why we had Adrian, and Khalil was the second, wwhereas the third keeper's like, well, I know I'm not going to play, but I'm going to train as well, and yeah, so he's a good, football league professional, 150 odd football league.
So let me ask you then, if you say that the players are trainers of three,
yeah,
what about this fourth one that's now the number 2?
Now that's the problem, because that's only going to be in about 2 weeks, and now we're in trouble. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean, there's 5 games left, but who knows?
Admin Pesky, something like that. I'm butchering it. But we had such a short bench today that Pesky was on the bench anyway, and we only had 8 players on the bench because
Pesky,
of the
is that Pesci, like Joe Pesci, the actor? Isn't it the same?
Kind of like Joe Pesci. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm definitely butchering the pronunciation. But yeah, he was on the bench anyway because we're so low on bodies as it is.
Oh gosh.
Armin Pesky. There you go.
But yeah, it's just it's another concern, another position where we are very thin.
It's a concern. The last time we would have seen Woodman, I'm pretty sure would have been in the League Cup. I think Jez, and I did that one.
Palace, wasn't it? I think, yeah. Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Gosh.
But a Preston legend, over 130 appearances. It says.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, played at Preston. Yeah.
But his dad, you say?
Relative.
His dad manages Bromley that have been
promoted. What? Freddie Woodman
got promoted.
Yeah, like his dad. Yeah, so they're kind of like say, no, it's like a celebration in the Woodman household this weekend.
Okay, good for him.
Let me give you some Woodman tidbits. So that's one fun fact. Another is that he's the godson of Gareth Southgate, who's a very close friend of Woodman's dad. Okay. And
they probably played together then, assuming.
Yeah, played
Palace, I'd imagine.
138 appearances for Preston after joining them in 2022. So he's had a period of playing a lot of football, and then obviously when this opportunity came up, probably thought it's probably about as much senior football as I'll see for a while. But it is Liverpool. Let's give it a go.
Wow. Yeah, and he was Newcastle's third keeper a couple of years ago as well.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so guys, we are talking about goalkeepers. I do want to mention quickly Alex Manninger, who's actually once on our books, former Liverpool and Arsenal keeper, Austrian footballer, and he passed away tragically a few days ago after his car was hit by a train. So died at the age of 48. He made 64 appearances for Arsenal between 97 and 2002. I do remember that he was a permanent fixture in their squad for a good while, 33 caps for Austria. And I think in 2015 or 2016, he signed for Liverpool towards the end of his career. It's very tragic news, isn't it, Jay? Whenever you hear of, we've been through it with Jota as an active player, which is especially galling and difficult to take. But when such a young man loses his life, having dedicated so much of his life to his career, it's very cruel, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely, especially as we all, with the exception of some age, we're all getting on in years. So you remember these players playing, you remember them in their flush of youth, and to see him pass away. So when I saw the name go up, I thought I automatically thought, I just assumed Arsenal. He was David Seaman's backup. I remember him, and it's tragic. And when you think it's like, it wasn't like he was like, when you hear like people like Jimmy Greaves and whatever, there's old guys. Fair enough, it is what it is. But someone that age is like, it's tragic, and may he rest in eternal peace.
Yeah. Jez, any words from yourself on Alex Manninger?
Yeah, like I say, it's just an unfortunate kind of way to go. And like I said, we've kind of had that really tragic experience with Jota at beginning of the season, and for anybody else to kind of go who's been connected to the club, it's always a sad sad occasion. You know, we're also in the week of the Hillsborough anniversary as well. You know, there's some things that just remind you that there's just more to life than football, isn't it? So I'm just hoping that there's support for his family, and you know, that he does rest in peace.
Well said. And Sam, a few words from you also, please.
Yeah, I think just really, really tragic news. And actually, just we're talking about the role of goalkeepers in the squad, and Martin Keown paid such a great tribute and said he's that one of Arsenal's greatest unsung heroes. And I was just a bit young to remember him backing up David Seaman, but he backed them up in a crucial time when they went on to win the league, and he was part of a team that kept 6 clean sheets in a row. And I think it's just it's such a terrible loss, but speaks to his professionalism. Just you look at the array of clubs he was a backup to Buffon at Juventus for a while, and just as we're talking about like Freddie Woodman, etc. But like being a professional, dependable player is something that your teammates are always going to remember you by. Your club's going to remember you by. You come to the end of your career, and Jurgen Klopp says, "Look, do you want to come in, train with us for a bit? You can be our third goalkeeper." And just all the impact he left on his teammates and his clubs he'll definitely be missed.
Well said, guys. Thank you so much for that, and cheers, Sam, for nudging on that in the chat, because it's really important to remember that, as I say, these guys, as much stick as they get, and all the banter around football and the rivalries that we have, they are young men, and they dedicated so much of their lives to their profession, sacrifice a lot, right? So I always feel super cruel when they pass young. So may Alex Manninger rest in peace. Right, okay, I'm going to bring it back to the game, because it didn't end at 1-1. I would say, though, Jay...
Did it not? Did it not?
At that point, no, it did not. There was more drama to come. Breaking news. I will say at that point when Everton got that equaliser for a good 15 minutes...
There's something we need to talk about before we get to that, if we do it chronological order.
Oh, go for it.
Konate's concussion, was it not? And then 5 minutes, it was doing some madness. Like, can we like to talk about it or not? I don't know.
The floor is yours.
I think Beto came off the worst from that.
I'm going to say he did come off a lot worse.
No, but yeah,
take us on the Konate train, Jay.
Sorry?
Take us on the Konate train. We are ready to board.
No, because obviously there was a clash of heads, fair enough. Right, we could see slow motion is whatever, right? And then obviously he was asked to go off, didn't want a treatment, so he had to go off, whatever, that protocol, fair enough. But when he got back a bit, he seemed a bit disoriented. He was doing mad stuff. Or is it just me, or was it like, or was that just Konate doing his Konate greatest hits? But it seemed to me that he seemed to be a bit disorientated. It took him about 5 minutes to kind of get his composure again and start playing properly. I thought, okay.
Yeah, without, again, we're not trying to make light of it, but I think you're right. I think there's something in there of like, maybe a minute isn't enough.
Yeah.
So like Beto went down again after 3 minutes. Beto came off worse, and you can see him say, "I'm seeing double." He's doing that. I think you're right in that. There's definitely something in football, and I think Chris Sutton was commenting. He's a big advocate for concussion protocol. So I think you're right. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes isn't enough. Maybe you actually need the full 5. Because you're right. Like realistically, there's just no way you're okay immediately. Because as we saw with Beto, 3 minutes later, he sat down. He said, "I'm seeing double. I'm going to have to come off." And I think there's an element of that, but there's also an element of there's a bit of both. It really is a bit of both. It's a bit of both.
Yeah, I was looking at it while thinking, like, what is going on? Like, I didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't have to compute it. So
you
I had a bit of concussion just watching it.
Basically.
Exactly. I didn't want. You mean?
So I know it's a dirty word around here.
Oh,
when people are kind of like or teams or coaches are like so absorbed by what's at stake, and maybe like, okay, the rules say this, so we can get away with it. Actually, in that situation, it might have been better to take the interest of the player, put them first, and take
well said. True.
However, as I said, Jay, there was more action to come, and for about 20 minutes. In my mind, I was thinking, because I had one eye on the Villa game, and Villa got pegged back at one point, then I went ahead. And I just thought to myself, Liverpool just need to relax, and they might get another chance. It would have been annoying if they'd lost, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But they didn't lose. They actually came through in the 96th minute and set a record for number of post 90-minute goals against one team. 6.
Yeah.
Another one to add to the Pickford collection. Talk to me about this one, Jez, because a Van Dijk header, glorious. No time for a comeback.
It was glorious, and it's kind of like I can keep saying, where has this been? This has been missing so much, you know. But I think that the fact that they kept going and they were obviously trying to go out for the win, I think, which was encouraging. The fact they got the corner anyway, but you know, that the fact they still had some energy, they still had a little bit of muscle, because it was a very crowded box that you know that could have gone anywhere. But the fact that the balling was decent, because there's been so many games where those corner kicks that just frustrated me, like, don't beat the first man. But you know, there was enough pace, there was enough precision on that, and all he had to do was just put that nice slick head on that ball and boom, where was Pickford? It's gone. There's a bit of soul glow on that, you know. I was just like, yes.
Those arms will never stop in that header, right?
No, I love your hair, Verge. You know, I'm not dissing your headpiece. Don't worry. But yeah, but you know, he turned up, and you know, it was just, there was muscle in there, like I said, in and around Van Dijk. It wasn't like it had to be him and him only. You know, there were enough people in there kind of going up for that as well, so which was good given how late in the game it was.
Made a nice change, did it not, Sam? From us always being done in the closing minutes of games. When I saw 11 minutes flash up on the
11
board,
minutes,
I was conflicted. I was like, opportunity to win, but hang on, opportunity for further trauma to be inflicted upon us in the latter stages of a football match. Where were you when you saw 11 minutes flash up, and how did you react when that header sailed into the net?
Yeah, when I saw 11 minutes, I was like, oh, this has not helped us all season. But I think we were, do you know what? There was just something about today. It's a Merseyside derby. As they say, form goes out the window in derby. So I'm like, this is our chance to reverse it. Like, let's not look back on the season and all of the late drama was against us. So at least, hopefully, if this is our last late goal, hopefully it's the one that's, you know, won it for us. But yeah, I was very, very, very happy that Van Dijk got that. And all game, I was like, do you know what? Especially the way corners are, and especially with Pickford. Pickford flaps. Obviously, you know, we've got the whole dinosaur arms thing as it is. He does flap. You're just thinking, just get it 4 yards. So not too close, but far enough that he has to come out. We've got height on him. Like, you know, so the fact that Salah was the one that was put on Pickford kind of tells you that they were like, just disrupt Pickford, and then we've got guys that can head it. So I was hopeful. I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought, right, now we're going to score. But I really was thinking, okay, let's just get it on that 4 yard line. Pickford's going to have to come out. And then at that point, you don't know where it's going to go. Get on someone's head, get an own goal, just get another chance. So I was glad that when we got a chance, and it really, the delivery is then important. So Szoboszlai's delivery, as it has been all season, was great. So yes, but yeah, I was like, yes, finally, like we've got that late drama and it's gone our way, because we hadn't had that since about August. I think Newcastle was the last injury time goal we'd scored. We just kept conceding injury goals after that. So yeah, I was glad that we took advantage of that. Oh, Burnley, yeah. Yes, September.
No.
Yeah, September.
No,
Burnley was in September.
Nottingham Forest away.
Was that a late one?
February. Was that late? Was that injury time? McAllister, yeah.
McAllister. Remember, maybe he had disallowed it.
It was a disallowed, and then yeah. Yes.
And I do have to say that when it came up,
but they've been few and far between, that's for sure.
Yeah. I have to say, when it came up 11 minutes, Mr. Sandwich put in the chat 11 minutes, and I was just like, it's not come up for me. Mushrooms behind. I was just like, disconnect. Because I was expecting you to message and say, they've scored. I was just like, this is like 11 minutes of pain. Like I'm not in the dark, but I'm in a different kind of zone to everybody else. But yeah.
I had totally accepted we're getting a draw. Right? That was my thing. My mind is mentally
that makes it even better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, we're gonna get a draw. It's not the end of the world because Chelsea lost, etc. And also at that time, I believe,
it was 3-3,
yeah, for Villa as well. So I just thought, okay, do you know what? It's not as bad. We've had worse weekend, that's for sure. So when we actually scored, even then I thought, oh, they're gonna disallow it or whatever. Then when I actually thought, oh, then it's actually, oh, okay, I'll take that then. So I was quite happy in that kind of thing. So yeah. And do you remember one more thing before Virgil run it back on his debut? Same thing.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
yeah.
That's what
They
they
asked
say.
him which is his favorite goal. He said the debut one for sure.
Okay.
So it's a victory that it's a moment of serendipity because, as I say, I wasn't sure which way it might go. I thought there might be a late goal, and to Jay's point, we were in that space. We're like, okay, draw's fine, but it was a victory, and it's a victory, guys, that leaves us clear in the race for top 5, which, by the way, could become top 6 should Villa finish in the top 5 and win the Europa League. But we don't want to be even thinking about that. It's not our business. Yeah, leave that for the likes of Chelsea,
The Chavs.
Oh my goodness,
Chelsea,
guys.
Brentford, and Bournemouth. Oh, okay. I hadn't seen that update.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You could have Brentford,
that's-
Bournemouth, or Brighton in next season's Champions League. This is a distinct possibility. It could happen.
Or Everton, actually.
Have Chelsea
right-
lost all those
Yeah,
games in
they've
a row?
been that far.
Chelsea have been poor.
Chelsea
Yep.
have been
Oh.
despicable.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah,
despicable.
they really have.
I haven't.
LinkedIn Liam side going down again yesterday.
Leo.
Um,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's looking grim. The gap is now 7 points, 5 games left to go. I don't even think Liverpool need to win another football match, but hopefully they do.
Hey,
I
whoa, whoa.
would like them to
Stop
nudge
here.
towards
Stop here.
20
That's
points.
hey.
Yeah, come on.
That would be
You-
respectable.
Yeah,
Do
but
you know what's also been great is that Brentford have been drawing quite a lot. So that 7-point gap is good because we've got Chelsea and Brentford are both coming to Anfield. And we've got to go away to Villa and United. So we've got the teams. We're in that team sandwich, but this safety net has really helped us.
yeah, but I
Absolutely.
don't understand why you guys are just so confident. I mean, yes, Chelsea, but we've
Because
got
it's
out of
Dungeons.
but out of the 5 games, we've still got to play 4 of those are in and around us. So
but-
if they all take points of us, you guys.
Yeah.
I wish I had your confidence. I'm still a bit like
No,
Okay, give
7
me a
points
couple
with
more.
5 games.
we've got to
I
do.
I don't
United,
trust.
Chelsea.
I don't trust them because in order to
That's
catch us,
what I
they've got to win 2 or 3 games in a row. I don't see
I
it.
don't trust any of those teams to win 3 more matches.
Yeah,
let
but then
alone
you're
the
working
four
on the
matches.
assumption that
More
we're
than
going to win the next 5.
No,
No,
Working on
no,
that,
they've
I
got
don't
to
have
win
confidence
three
in that.
more
we
than
don't
us.
need to. We don't need
Yeah,
to.
they've
That's the
got to
thing.
win 3 more than us.
I'm working on the assumption we can win 1 and draw 1 in the last 3.
Of
and then
at
we'll win
least
all there.
of our last. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you lose against those that are coming,
Okay,
Anyway.
now, Jez,
Go on.
seeing as you are uber confident about our chances of finishing in top 5, I'm going to ask you, where can we finish? Look at this league table. It's looking oh so juicy. We are 3 points behind Manchester United. Bear clash is going to happen in your household if we overtake them. And Villa, who are still 3 points ahead after they scammed a 4-3 win today, coming back from 3-3. Sorry, they had been 3-1 up, and then Sunday looked like we're going to get a 3-3, but Villa got the points just at the death. So where do you think? Don't look behind you, Jez. Look ahead.
I know
Life,
I
we should
am
look ahead.
looking ahead.
Where
but
do you think we can finish?
I think maybe kind of where I'm kind of like going, where are you guys at? Is like you've accepted 5th. I'm like, I look at this, given that we still to play Villa and United. Third is up for grabs. Let's come
Exactly.
on. Let's get behind
Oh,
the
yeah,
boys.
it is.
So I'm
Yes,
not like
yes.
going,
You
we're
were
securing
talking
top
like
5.
a top 5 place was under threat, Jez. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
you were
okay,
making
you
it seem as if we're going to drop out.
Well, like I said, the way this is
I
going,
think the
bloody
lads have
knows?
won you
But
over. Now you think we can finish 3rd? Is that what
I
you're
think
saying,
we
Jez?
can because
All right, that's what I like to hear.
yeah, and we're only 3 points. And like I said, we can if we beat Villa, our goal difference is more superior, so we'll leapfrog them. United, if we beat them, it's a similar sort of thing, and that's on the basis that they, we've got to match their results, haven't we?
I
But
must
it just
say,
takes
I
us
am
to beat
dreading.
the two.
I am dreading a United game though.
In what
Yeah,
way?
it's gonna.
Do you know what? Do you know why? Do you know I'm dreading it? Number one, they really owe us one, don't they? right? The way what we've done to them over the last 7 or 8 years.
Dude, we owe them. They came to Anfield and
Yes,
got
They beat us at
Maguire.
Anfield this
You've
year.
forgotten that.
No,
Our very
I
first podcast, which you joined, it was
Yeah.
misery. Misery
No,
from
I
the bank.
understand, but
You forgot.
even they know they were lucky because we hit the post about 4 or 5 times. They know that they were lucky. They scammed that one. They know that, right? But what I'm trying to say is that they owe us. We've given them a 4-0, or 3-0, or 4-2, a 5-0, a 7-0. We've given them all these kind of things, and they want that. I'm here. These Man United fans, they're talking about like on Easter Sunday. I was with a Man United fan. He was telling me that, yeah, we owe you guys. They want one of those statement victory where you actually pummel us, and this is their time. I remember even the 7-0 game. They thought they were going to come to Anfield and smash us because they were on their trajectory and we were whatever, but it never quite happened. So I'm just saying, I'm worried.
Just a reminder, isn't it? It's that kind of fixture where you cannot bet on a colour and absolutely know it's going to come up trumps.
But I don't trust our players. That's the thing. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
No, and I think
I don't think their fans trust their players either. I'll remind you that Leeds went there, fighting relegation, and played them off the park on Monday. But that
will be a harder kind of derby type game than the Everton game.
It's going to be a bit of a
gonna
scrap,
come
I
in.
reckon.
It's going to be tasty.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So look, we're looking at a league table. I would like to talk about other teams because this was a monumental weekend. You know 2 things about me. Number 1, you know I want a genuine title race, and we've got one in our hands. And number 2, you know I love to laugh at Spurs. Sam, let's go with you first. You, Jay, you almost had me convinced up until about 3 weeks ago that this title is completely done and dusted. There was no looking back for Arsenal. This was going to be the season where Arteta had the final laugh with their dire brand of football, and we would have to book flights to escape the inevitable crowing from North London. Now what you're telling me about this title race, Sam?
You know what's really interesting? Yeah, about a month and a half ago, Opta had Arsenal at 97.1% chance of winning the league. And it's really interesting because you look at that form table, they've only lost 2 in a row and they've won the 4 preceding games. So over their last 6 games, that's 12 points. City have 14 points. So City have only gained 2 points on them. But it also kind of shows that maybe we had discounted City a bit too early, and actually once the games pick up and we know the games in hand start to pick up, because we assumed Arsenal was still going to be in the FA Cup, for example, but actually they went out. So City still have a Palace game to rearrange. They've got Burnley coming up in midweek, and man, I can't believe it. Man City have only been top of the league for 6 nights this year, and come Wednesday night they might be top again. Man, this is so monumental. It is a monumental bottle if they do not do it. Of the last, I need the guy laughing. Man, this is a capitulation, and I think it genuinely, like you said, a month ago, you could not have told me that on the 23rd of April, Man City could be top. You couldn't have told me that. So I just don't. Man, there is bottling and there's whatever Arsenal are doing now, because we put the banter aside. They haven't quote unquote bottled all of the last 3. Last year they weren't really ever in it. 2 years ago they weren't really ever in it. So it's really 2 years ago, City's last title, where they did bottle it, because it was similar to this where they had the points.
They were in it.
They were, yeah, exactly, and they
last
were
season,
in it.
Last season they were in it until we kicked them out.
I don't think they're in it in April. Not in April.
I'm talking. Not in April.
Yeah.
No, they were in it until West Ham got there.
It was West Ham in February, I think.
And Bowen, and then we beat City.
Yeah, but
they have been in it.
But I want to define, for me, bottling is.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, when you're in the lead and it's in your hands, a la Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool, right? When it's in your hands,
we definitely bottled that season.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's move on.
Yeah. So I don't want to make it seem second again, and if I still there's still another twist to come. If they finish second 4 years in a row, they're not all been the same, but this will certainly be the worst. the position that they've been in, the squad that they've got, the experience and the maturity that they should have learned, man, this will be tough. And I keep telling my Arsenal fans, you know what? Like you said, Drew, I love a title chase when we're not in it, because when we've been in this position and it's going down to the last day, we know what's going to happen, and the goal difference and all these things.
It's the T1000 meme. You're calm, and then you're being chased down, and you know you're going to be caught. You're like Prey sitting there.
Man,
and,
this is just...
Jay, I'm gonna come to you because look, whilst we're having a bit of a chuckle, and it's not an Arsenal specific thing. It's not, but it's you know, they have done well. They've been the most consistent team probably over the last 4 years in the league without winning anything. Right? When you talk about 4 second place finishes, if it ends up being that way, let's say they get over the line, and it's still a strong possibility that could happen. Because ultimately, where they're at now is City will go ahead on Wednesday, right? They're going to beat Burnley, but then it puts big pressure on Arsenal. And you're looking at goal difference, and you're looking at head-to-head each and every single week who's going to get the best results. Let's say Arsenal crawl over the line. Are you going to look back at them with the same amount of respect that you might have had they done the job the way they're meant to?
I'd go one further. I would say, I haven't said what I'm going to say yet.
It's the setup. I love it.
A lot of Arsenal fans, are actually saying quite loudly that even if they win the league, they want him gone. Because, you've got the other line. Because this football he's playing is not sustainable. And they can see problems with it moving forward. I mean, they've built up such a lead. And I kind of see where they're coming from. It's like, remember when I was telling you, even if we win the Prem, even if it's Champions League, I still want Slot gone for similar reasons. I know it's a bit that kind of thing. It sounds ungrateful. So it's not about whether we as rival fans necessarily would respect it. Arsenal fans don't respect it, you know. And these people like Turkish, Jordan Jarrett Bright, Troops, they all think that that Arteta is anti-football. We all joking. This semi-final between Simeone versus Arteta is going to be dire, you know, because of, and that's the thing. And Arsenal were known for playing great football. I mean, that Arsenal team of like the late naughty to early 2010s was brilliant. It didn't win anything, but there were people like Kleb and Cazorla and these guys. They've always been known for, well, not always, but since the Wenger eras. And now it's gone like total, like it's just bad. But their justification is they're going to win trophies, but they won't win the big trophies consistently playing like this.
And just they may not win shit. One of my favorite Arsenal commentators, James Bayliss, formerly of AFTV, very measured guy. I like his content a lot, and he came out with something after the Brentford game, when, bear in mind, they still had that 6-point gap and this big game to come. And he just said quite openly, I haven't enjoyed the football. I don't like the football. That's a big problem, isn't it? It's like, if you fall short, but actually you are giving the fans entertainment and hope and something to cling to. And it's not that, because a lot of people are like, a manager hasn't got a style of play. You can have a shit style of play. And I think in a lot of Arsenal fans' eyes, that is the problem. Like Jay says, it's not sustainable. Now, if they don't get over the line, Jez, he's got to go, surely, hasn't he? From where they've let it slip.
100%. And it's kind of feeling a bit like, it's like Arteta's got his own, his vendetta against the league. Like, he feels like the league owes him this because he's like the greatest manager ever. You know, what did they say he did at the training ground? He lit fire. I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter. Like, you're twisted, mate. That's what you are. You're twisted. Yeah, no. What is going on? Like, I will do these different things. I like it when the players bring their ideas, and the players. I'm like, what is this? Like, why are you injecting so much psychological hype in your players? Your players haven't been in this position before and not won. Surely that has got to be enough motivation. You don't need to be bringing out this madness, like you're lighting fires in the training ground to like jivvy your players up. You know, it should be there. But it kind of goes back to your point about saying it's exciting now that we've got a title race, because for a long time in recent years, it's not always been the case. Okay, we won it in end of April. So May was like, nah, done and dusted or whatever. When we won it in COVID, we were like 20 odd points clear, weren't we? We walked that league. And then other people, even when they've won it, they've not really had the whole City Liverpool where we've been like 90 plus points and 1 point behind. There's not been that kind of drama. So it's good to like have that. But gosh, from the position that they were in to now, to even at this point, the City could be above them midweek. Like, I don't know what that does to the players or the manager. So either way, I think he's got to go because I don't know what he could bring to them next season if they do finish in second. But he's just
with all that.
Yeah, like you said.
With all that being said,
yeah.
With all that being said, I want to give credit to Arsenal today because I thought their performance against Brentford was an absolute disgrace. All they really needed
Bournemouth.
was Bournemouth.
Bournemouth last week,
yeah, absolute disgrace. You lose at home, you win that game, and this game today is kind of like a non-event. If you just stink out the place and get a draw, even if you don't, you lose it, you're still ahead. But what they did today, I thought they picked their moments really well. They had the better chances, didn't they? There was a point where Eze hit the post.
Yeah.
There was, I counted like a good 3 or 4 chances. I was like, okay, they should have been ahead. There was a Havertz opportunity towards the end where a header, he wasn't leaning back. He had plenty of space, plenty of time. He needs to head it down. And that's the title done. That's a draw. And you walk away, shake hands, and that's it. Everyone's moving on. So is this a mentality thing? Joe, I'm going to come to you.
What I'll say is that Eze was one of the better players, better attacking players anyway. Why is he being substituted? And Odegaard still stays on the pitch. That was crazy. But that just tells me, and this is after they went 2-1 down where they have to chase in the game. So in that something Eze would have been more effective going forward than Odegaard, and it just seemed odd to me. And I'm just thinking to myself, this manager is like, obviously, I know he's not deliberately trying to hamstring the team. I know he wants to win, right? I'm not going to be silly about that. But some of the decisions he's making, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm thinking like, why don't you keep him on and try go for it? Because if you're going to lose 2-1, you might as well lose 3-1 going for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's still the same thing, right? And yeah, to me, if I was Arsenal, I'll be frustrated. The defeat isn't all on him necessarily, but as you said, Arsenal played actually okay. They played the game that they needed to play. They almost got there, as in like getting a draw. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes attack is the best form of defense, and I don't think Arteta kind of really believes that. So that's the problem.
It's been a 9-point turnaround, Sam, and even after the trauma of going from potentially being 12 points ahead last weekend to Wednesday, we know they will be behind. It's going to be hard for them to take right. There's still a title race on. They're still in it. They can still outperform City's results because what are the chances of City winning 8 in a row, which they'll need to do to get over the line? That may not happen. They may run out of gas, and they've got the FA Cup as well. I just think if they can focus their minds, they can still do it. What do you think? Who's going to do it now? If I ask you now, where's the title going? What are you saying?
Man City. You just touched on something very important. Neither of them are going to win all their Premier League games, but it's also there's different factors. So City have an FA Cup semi-final. Arsenal have 2 very, very tough semi-final legs coming up against Atletico Madrid, almost to an extent where they might have even preferred Barcelona because it's a slightly different game. Barcelona are a lot more attacking, so you can play. They're going to have lumps kicked out of them. They're going to have to, there's something about just holding that mentality and that discipline. And I think this is where it's really hard to do it against a team that knows how to do it. We came up against it as well a little bit in the early Klopp years where it's like, wait, how do we balance this? How do we catch Man City when we've got to overturn a 3-goal deficit against Barcelona on the Tuesday night? I think you remember we had the Newcastle away in between those legs and Origi had to save us. And it's that thing of like,
Salah concussion
every 3 days. They got very lucky. They got very lucky with Gabriel because if the ref gives them a red, that's a 3-game ban.
Yeah.
They got so lucky there. So
today,
maybe, maybe maybe that's a little bit of luck where we look back and say, okay, right, maybe Gabriel gets an 89th minute winner against Newcastle next week. Versus maybe he was going to miss 3 games. It's going to be such fine margins. And if you have to ask me right now, I'm sorry, I have to go Man City. And it's not for banter reasons. It's not for having a laugh. They have shown me they can do it. And we know more than most. They know how to do it. They know once they get to April and there's a chance if they have to just match Arsenal's results. And like you said, neither of them are going to win out. So actually, who's going to drop points first? Because the draw at this stage is going to be terminal. And man, I don't know, man. I look at Man City's firepower versus, I can't remember the last time Arsenal scored 2 goals, let alone 3, versus Man City could score 4 against Burnley in the first half. So then the goal difference gap becomes a lot bigger, and then you start chasing games, and then again, you're chasing games, and then you're doing things that you wouldn't normally do, and then you have what happened against Bournemouth. Oh, man. I'm back in City right now because I just think they know they have the know-how. They've got the bit between their teeth, and they're in much better form. Let's be honest. Also won 1 game in 5.
I think Burnley might have something for City. You know, I think everyone.
Stop this game. That's the game. It's not Burnley that are gonna derail this. Man City
No. Let me finish my point. I still think Manchester City will probably pit them, but I don't. I still think Burnley might have something
make it a
for
bit
them.
stressful.
Yeah, I think it might go to the final
because
day.
it's at their ground, right?
Exactly. I think it might be the final day because we've seen throughout the years these teams who are dog poo at the bottom of the league. When I remember, I'm old enough to remember last game of the season, 1995, the all-conquering Man United, right, had to go Upton Park. All they had to do was win, right, and they win the league. But they somehow wet the bed, as it were, and Blackburn went up in the league. You see it
with a loss.
Sorry,
they won the league with a loss.
Yes, Anfield.
Anfield.
Do you see what I'm saying? I remember that, and obviously that the one time in my life I've cheered for us to lose. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that we've seen better teams, do rubbish on the last day, or during the running. Even Man United. I remember one time the 4-4 Everton. This is 2012, something like that.
Yeah,
so
2012.
It happened.
Yeah.
It happened. So it's not inconceivable, but I just think that it's not going to be. It's in title races, people drop points we least expect them to. That's what makes it exciting.
Exactly, I definitely agree. I think we don't know what game it is. I just do not think it's Burnley on Wednesday because they've got the bit between their team.
Yeah, you may well be right. You may well be right.
Yeah. I can see that.
When you look at these fixtures,
just another quick thing on these fixtures as well.
Feels to you the most obvious where they'll drop points, Sam?
Who for Man City?
Let's go Man City first.
Maybe a Bournemouth away, because what we also need to remember, the Villa and Palace game. So if Villa and Palace both win and get to their finals, because of when the Europa League and Conference League finals are, those games are essentially Villa's on the last day. That's potentially 3 days before a conference final, before a Europa final. And the Palace game will have to get moved to 3 days before the conference final because Man City might have an FA Cup final. So that's 2 games they're going to rest. And then, some of these other games, again, I don't think it's going to be Burnley away. Everton and Bournemouth, maybe. Like Bournemouth has shown Bournemouth for 13 games unbeaten, but that could turn and they could then lose the next 3. Like, you really don't know. I quickly look at Arsenal's games. Newcastle at home, I'm not sure. With the way Arsenal are playing, I'm not sure. Fulham have packed their season in as it is, so they should win that. West Ham,
Newcastle 14th right now. Their manager's under big
pressure.
I'm
going to say it's under pressure.
But they do love they love a little battle with Arsenal, so I'm not sure. But that West Ham game, if that's the West Ham game where they need to mathematically confirm their safety at home, I don't know. And that's the game that's gonna be between semi-finals. Man, I have no idea, man.
Do you know what I think?
I basically think City do not want to go into match week 37 behind Arsenal. They having dropped points before Arsenal because
they don't want to drop points before then. Yeah.
That's the one I'm looking at.
Do you know what I think? Do you know where I think Arsenal are vulnerable? All 3 of their home games, because I'm telling you, the Arsenal crowd The Arsenal crowd,
Yeah,
when
very
they're
good
under
point.
pressure, then they don't help the team at all. They
Very
don't give
good
any
point.
favors. So I look at all three, irrespective of the opposition. The
That's a
three
good
home
point.
games they're the ones I'm expecting them, and that's what happened even last season when they couldn't match us. It was their home games, drawing home games.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what kind of knocked them out the title race. And I can see the same happening again.
And also, you look at their fixtures and stuff, and I think this has always been a long kind of spoken thing about a lot of the London clubs is that they have a lot of London derbies, so they've got a lot of London opposition. Exactly, and of those that remain in, they've got 3 London clubs that they're playing, and like you say, West Ham.
West Ham away. I do not fancy that.
I mean that as well, and like even Palace. You kind of think we've got anything to play for, but there's that kind of London pride and London, what's what I'm looking for.
They might
the banter and everything. So it's hard. I mean, City, Everton might give them a game. You don't know. Bournemouth, Villa.
You don't know.
You don't know, but I think it's not. Don't think about the opposition. I think your point, JWS, about their home form. I think is a valid one as well. But it's about now who has got the wind beneath their sails to carry forward, and the momentum now is with City. It's how Arsenal react. And when's their next game? Next weekend.
They're the
is it Newcastle game? So they've got a week to stew on this.
And their last game will be Glasner's last home game, last ever game at Palace. So they may want to go out for a bang.
Super tough. I mean, it may be done by them. Probably not. I think it'll go to the last game this season, but it would be funny, right? If when Fulham visit the Emirates, Smith Rowe, Iwobi, their former employers,
and Leno has a game of the season.
Where's Nketiah? Where's Nketiah playing? Did he play
at Palace?
He's at Palace.
Oh,
imagine that script. There you
go.
But look, it's super close. The fact that City have had to fight tooth and nail shows you how well Arsenal have done to get in this position. But
For sure.
Up here mentally, letting it drop to this degree, it shouldn't even be a conversation.
It shouldn't be.
One thing that may not be a conversation anymore is Spurs' Premier League future. If things continue as they are, guys, a week ago, they were targeting Leeds to try and reel them in. Leeds went 9 points ahead of them this weekend after Spurs dropped points in the 96th minute. Another team doing that at home when all they needed was one win since I was last tucking into my Christmas leftover turkey, Jez. How's this happened? How are Spurs on the verge of championship football, and are they going to survive? Let me flash up this table for you so you can get a reminder of what is what.
Let's revel in their misery. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy this season. Because even, we talk about how City have pegged back Arsenal. We're talking about Spurs essentially going down. Spurs who wanted to be part of the Big Six, especially if it's Europe Super League or whatever. I mean, and we said, I met up with a friend yesterday who's a Leicester fan. He said he's just given up with football now. And
they've gone down, haven't they? Yeah.
Talking about actually how difficult it is. You don't always bounce back from the Championship, and a club of that size and that stature to go down it's bonkers. And it's this thing that there's a lot of teams who just need to keep that in the back of their mind, because you have people flip with that. Everton have flipped with that as well. But I mean, it's mad. It is absolutely mad. And then you think that
would you say it's a straight shootout between them and West Ham now? Because Forest also won today. They turned around a 1-0 deficit to Burnley, and it was a Morgan Gibbs white hat-trick. He was trying to go to Spurs at some point in the summer, and they're now clear as well. So that's 5 points clear for Spurs. They have to hope that Forest don't get another point.
Well, there's that, but then look, West Ham have got a game in hand. So actually, if they win that, they're only a point behind. They're only a point behind Forest.
Huge tomorrow. That might be the biggest game of Tottenham's season. They're not even involved in it.
Totally.
No, but Spurs have to play West Ham, and they've got to play, I believe.
No, Spurs have played West Ham. West Ham went to Spurs and beat them, didn't they?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they beat them at the Lane, as did Forest.
Oh,
Forest did as well. Yeah.
No, but don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, it's crazy. We were looking at the top half of the table, and actually, there's not that much between like the Champions League qualifying places and some of the teams below. I mean, you know, at a point, if you were to look at our form, you know, we should have been a lot lower than where we are. That just tells you how crazy this season has been. You know, with our form and amount of losses that we have, the fact we're still talking about we're going to qualify for the Champions League, and you've got people like Tottenham that are just sucked in, and that people are taking points with each other. You know, who would have thought that these will build that lead and that gap that they have done, and you know that Forest would get the win that they had. But you know, it must be hard for them. You know, see their talisman just win a title in Germany
again.
You know, again.
22 defeats for Spurs in the Premier League last year, Jay, and 16 defeats this season. 16 plus 22 equals 38. Oh, that's the equivalent of a Premier League season of defeats in a calendar year, and there may be more to come. They're getting their comeuppance, right? If they go down, this is
100%. They cannot say the warning sign's not there. They flirted with this last season. Yeah, they won the Europa League. Great day, great achievement. You know, I respect all that. It's no problem. But
I don't respect it.
No, I do.
No, it's a respectable trophy.
I don't respect it.
It's a trophy.
It's a trophy.
The fact they beat Man United in the final was very good as well, by the way. So yeah, the thing is, I think that trophy win did kind of paper over the cracks, and it kind of, a lot of the fans kind of turned their eye away from that, because it should have been worrying, and they didn't really do anything in the transfer market to kind of address that. Because they should have gone all in on like rebuilding that team, because clearly, but I think from what some of the chatter, a lot of it was people were saying, oh, it's Big Andrew's his style of football that got him in there. It wasn't that the players, but now we're saying it wasn't just Big Andrew's style of football. You know, he might have been a contributing factor, but it's really these players, right? And I also think there isn't any pressure on Tottenham to achieve anything. There's no pressure on everybody. They're just there. And I think from the top to the bottom, I do feel for the fans, to be fair, because they pay top dollar to follow their team. You know what I'm saying? It's like the season ticket was Tottenham Hotspur, not cheap, right? And this is what they served them, you know. And it's just.
But then what did the manager say when he came in? He said he's no better than the ones before him. I was just like, how does that set you up? How are you getting everyone behind you?
Everybody's got a great history of coming in and really setting the tone right.
It's just like, dude, you need to be coming in all guns blazing and make them believe.
They also need to sack their press officer, because their press officer should be saying, "Oh, mate, this is what you do. This is what you don't say. Whatever."
He should be speaking up. Yeah, he should be speaking.
Yeah, because you can't just give him free rein to say what he wants.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this game tomorrow, Palace against West Ham. I personally think Palace might beat them, but if they don't, that is a problem. If West Ham go there and continue their form, and by the way, they strengthened their squad in January, which Tottenham didn't do. I know they signed some midfielder from Atletico, Gallagher.
They signed Gallagher and they sold Brennan Johnson. So
yeah. But imagine Brennan Johnson escaped Spurs, so he didn't have to be in a relegation fight. Think about that, guys, for a minute. Round table, are Spurs going down? Jess, start with you.
Yeah, they're gone. I think they're gone.
Jay?
Yeah, I think they're gone.
Sam?
Yeah, I actually think West Ham. I think West Ham win tomorrow. Palace are now on Europa Conference watch. Like they literally they were in Fiorentina. Dean Henderson and the players, they were celebrating with the fans after. Obviously, they've had an extra day. It's going to be a Monday night, but they're on, as they should be. They're like, hold on, we have a chance to win another trophy in another season. That's all we're going to care about. They're 42 points. They've reached their magic 40, and they're in a semi-final of a European trophy. They're going to rotate for the Premier League.
Yeah, Glasner, who's basically trying to hang himself by a noose in January, trying to sack himself, is essentially going to end up with a trophy and a statue at this rate. So good luck to Spurs trying to survive. Now, just before we leave, there was an interesting story that came up that Jay did point out regarding Trent Alexander-Arnold's brother. This is Marcel. He's a gamer, so so you see him online a lot, and he's someone who's quite reactive to fan sentiment. And we know that his brother got a hell of a lot of heat off many individuals, including one in this pod, for his conduct last year. When they were trying to
Why'd you do it, Des?
It's true. And now, man like Marcel's hit back at Mr. Sandwich and his gang in an explosive social media outburst. Someone said at halftime, weren't you a Liverpool fan the other week? And Marcel did not like that. He reminded Liverpool fans that their side got cooked yesterday. He said, I'm a Liverpool fan, but the hate that comes in here comes purely from Liverpool fans. So I'll stand on business. Listen, I'm a Real Madrid fan, but when Liverpool win, I'm happy to see them win. But I care more about my brother than I care about Liverpool. So simple as that. So if someone's hating my brother, I'll roast them. Whatever team you support. Mr. Samage, you put your brother before your team, don't you? What's wrong with
do you
that?
know what? I'm gonna surprise you all. I'm with the firstly, I do not care about the Alexander Arnold. And it's deeper than Trent. Like, I think Marcel's the one that's the agent, or is Tyler that's the agent that is
Tyler's the agent.
Tyler's the agent. They're riling up Liverpool players. Like, get rid and like let's just leave that. But on this one, Marcel is right. Like, and it happened when Liverpool played Real Madrid, the stream. I'm like, yeah, obviously he's going to support his brother, and I can imagine the people that watch other people's Twitches. I can imagine the abuse and those kind of questions. So I can imagine he probably just had enough of it and said, "You lot are the reason." And actually, I get it. So like, I'm going to surprise you. Like, I agree with him. Like, of course he supports his brother, and like he said, when Liverpool wins, he's happy. You know, they're a Scouts family. He's going to be happy for them. But his brother, rightly so, should be his priority. So like, I have no problem with that. My wider problem is actually now with Tyler and the way that he conducts business for our youth players, not just the senior players at this point. It's pretty horrendous. But I have no problem with what Marcel said. I think he's in the right, and I think people need to we need to like move on. And I know that's ironic me saying it, but like, I think, as I said at the time, that was specific to him coming back to Anfield. I'm not watching Real Madrid Bayern Munich booing the TV screen every time he touches the ball, or like hoping he doesn't get in the England squad, all this kind of stuff. It was very specific to that Liverpool Real Madrid game. Apart from that, I broadly don't spend time thinking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, if Real Madrid game's on, you note his performance, and for what it's worth, I think he should be in the England squad. You can't tell me there are 26 better footballers than Trent Alexander-Arnold for England. He should be in the squad.
It's an absolute joke.
Yeah,
White
but
and co. Livramento.
Yeah. So but in terms of the Alexander-Arnold family and Liverpool FC, I think we need to very severely cut the bridge on all fronts.
Yeah, look, you know what fans are like, Jake, right? You know what the online community is like, particularly when it comes to footballing banter. He knows he's big enough and experienced enough in life to understand that people are trying to get a reaction. I mean, even that UFC guy is always sticking a boot in. Paddy
the Baddy.
Paddy Pimblett. He goes on online, does interviews, and he's calling Trent this, that, the other, and the third. And he hit back at him. He just needs to chill, doesn't he, Marcel? They're looking for a rise out of him, and he's giving it to them.
Exactly. So oh, you want to go?
No,
okay. No, yeah. Well, all I'll say with this Marcel guy is like, no one's saying don't stick. Well, I would. Anyway, my perspective: stick up for your brother if you have to. Blah blah blah. All the rest of it. But he's making himself the story. Yeah, he's making himself a target because, of course, you have idiots of every fan base who are going to treat one. And now they know they can get a rise at you. What's going to happen? More people are going to do the same sort of thing. It's just common sense, right? And it's going to come a time when Real Madrid fans are going to come for you. Because that's how it goes, right? And and then what are you going to do then? Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, are you really helping your brother? That's the question. Or are you doing it? Do you know what I mean? So the motives can be, maybe he's doing it for pure fraternal affection, but there's a sense of like, well, do you know what? Look at me kind of thing. That's kind of what I get. But like as for the England stuff, I'm actually quite glad that he's not an England team because I don't want because I'm a Trent Alexander-Arnold fan personally, even though I played for Real Madrid, and I don't want him to be associated with this England stench of when we get knocked out in the round of 16 by I don't know Croatia or somebody. So that's my position on it anyway.
Jez, anything else to throw into the mix before we leave?
I think Liverpool fans need to just move on. You know, I think we're kind of getting to the point now, even if you look at the squad and this whole thing about needing a local lad. Who's left? The main local lad is Curtis. And for me, Curtis needs to go. I'll pack his bags and I'll drive him to wherever airport, whatever he needs to go. Because, yeah, I'll save that one for the next one because I know that we're over today. But, you know, so there's no local, the whole local thing. And like we need to like move on from that. It's like
Jaden Dance.
Yeah, we don't play, does he?
Yeah,
He's just
I know.
making up numbers. He's just making up numbers, you know, like a lot of people are because our bench is so light. But it's like, come on, people. He moved on. He made his choice. He was well entitled to. He won everything with the club. He wanted a new challenge. Why would you not go to Spain? You know,
I agree.
Come on. So wish him all the well. He doesn't owe us anything. You know, we gave him a contract. We paid him. He delivered. Done. Let's move on. But this weird thing about it's a local lad and it's like when we had back in the days of the boot room. We need the boot room, so we're not going to give it to Houllier. It's going to be Houllier and Roy Evans because we've got the boot room. And it's always like, you know what, time moves on, football moves on.
I hear you, but you know, Spurs fans still haven't forgiven people like Sol Campbell, and that was like 25 years ago. West Ham fans are still bitter about Paul Ince. How about that?
Yeah, of course they are. But that's why they're where. That's why they are where they are. Fighting relegation. Move on.
Fair enough.
No. We go. Okay. Well, neat, tidy, and incisive finish. And I'm glad that I'm seeing the reaction from Sam on the camera as you were saying we need to move on. And it really doesn't matter what he said or did because Sam 100% agrees. He loves Trent. We all do. Now, thank you so much to my co-commentators for today. Big up, Miss Sandwich.
Thank you very much.
Big love to Jez. Maximum respect to JSS.
Thanks for having me.
Listeners, viewers, we appreciate your time, your company. If you're watching live on YouTube, big up yourself. Hit that subscribe button so you know when we're live. And do the same on whatever podcast engine you listen to us on, because then you will never miss an episode when you hit that notification bell. And you know what really help? You know what really helps, Jez? When people give us a 5-star rating. Incredible. We're getting the shadows. Fantastic. 3D 5 stars being thrown up. And even leave us a review. That'll be most appreciated too. We've only got 5 matches left to go over the season, Reds, but we are firmly in the mix for maybe even a top 3 finish. You never know. First Merseyside derby of the Hill Dickinson era ended. Everton 1, Liverpool 2. Salah and Van Dijk with decisive moments. It's a sweet end to a Super Sunday weekend, and we shall catch you next week. After who are we playing?
Palace at home.
Palace at home, indeed. Until then, Reds, take care of yourselves. Have a great week and enjoy the football that follows. You'll never walk alone.